Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who has lost 100 pounds and have been living in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach currently down 75 pounds and continuing my journey to lose another 100.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes. And this week, we had Laurie write in and ask a question. She said, some time ago, Debbie did a post on her camping protocol and it taught her a lot. I would love to hear from both of you on planning protocols for camping, vacation, and how you both have been successful with avoiding large weight gain while on travel and away from home.
Well, this is such a good one because you just got back from vacation and I'm getting
Yes.
ready to head out on a road trip that's going to be about 8 days, and definitely that camping protocol is going to come in handy. So, April, how did you handle your most recent trip, and what were your big wins from the trip, and then your biggest lessons when you came back?
Yeah, and I thank you, and I like how you asked the biggest, wins and lessons because I think that's one of the keys that I was going to talk about, which is you have a plan, and then when you get back, you assess how everything went. Look at what worked, look at what didn't, and tweak it for the next time because each trip you take, it's gonna be a little different. So you're gonna learn something each time you go, and the next trip, something that might have worked last trip might not. You always have to kind of be listening to yourself, tuning in, learning because the person who I was who took a trip last year, I'm not the same person this year. Like different things I'm listening to, I've learned and all of that. So for this in particular trip, I do go to Florida a couple times a year. I have friends, very dear friends, who live there. So we visit and we tend to go to Disney World, which is really amazing. As well. This time it was for Easter, and we were spending some time at their house and also going to Disney World. So there's a lot going on. For me, where when I what I have learned when I'm going anywhere right now, a priority that I make for myself is to pack snacks for me that work for me. So like my list of things are there's always I have beef sticks and chicken sticks. They're kind of like a beef stick, but just made from chicken. And then I have some almonds. And I also always will pack some kind of sweet for me that works. Um, I just have an umbrella of things that I know work for me and that I like to carry with me in case I get hungry and I need something. Because if I don't have that with me, then we all know if you're hungry and you go too long, you tend to eat a little bit more than you would normally do
Your
because
brain
you've
gets excited. Like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah. I also think about what I'm doing on the trip and I think about what I want to do. So I think about the trip before I go, right? So I knew one of the days we were doing a park hopping day, which I had never done before. We were going to three different Disney World parks in one day. So I knew a lot was going to be going on. So I had a lot of things packed in my bag. I had fruit and all these other things. And I also told myself, okay, I had a conversation. I talked to myself. I do that a lot.
it's so good."
And one of them was in the past, what have I eaten at Disney and what did I really like? And what is it that can I have it at home? That's something I ask myself a lot. So if it's something I can have at home, I tend to try not to worry about it as much. It's got to be something that is not around the area if I'm going to do something. So, for example, I'm gluten free. So there's a restaurant there that does a gluten-free fish and chips. I love it, and I knew that was gonna be happening. I was going to have that, I was going to enjoy that, no big deal. So, I just think about the events and what I want to choose in advance, kind of like the mental rehearsal we've talked about in a different podcast. Think about what's gonna be happening. Of course, you can't always know everything, right? And you have to be prepared for that too, and that's part of preparing snacks for yourself in advance is helpful. Also reminding myself that the trip is about the experience of what we're doing and who we're with. But food is a part of that for everybody at some point, but whether it's popcorn or whatever you seek out at a fun, fair type of place or park or whatever. But reminding yourself too that what you're there for. And you're really there for, like, I'm there for time with my friends, experiencing Disney World like a kid again, going on the rides, seeing the things. So really focusing on those things as well, that's a big help for me. The other lesson, I did really well this trip, but I had a big lesson in this trip. And as much as I work on pre planning the trip and how I'm going to handle the trip, I need to work on how I re-enter when I get back from the trip. I did not prepare myself as well as I should have, and I did have some overeats the couple days back from home because I was tired. I didn't have, you know, like I was talking to Debbie before the podcast, like you're running on adrenaline, right? You're up really early, you're running all day, and you're going, 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 and then you're home and you're like, travel's a lot, you're flying. It's just a lot on your body and rest wise and stuff. So um, I have learned that I need to take a buffer day in between travel and going to work the next day. So I can meal prep, get all my vegetables in the house that work for me and stuff like that. So that was my big lesson this time. And I'll be better prepared for next time. So
next time. You
yeah.
know, and we talked last week about self-care and doing things, I think it was last week, and taking care of ourselves. And that day when we get home from vacation, I don't know, as you were talking, I was thinking about this. And as kids, were we taught that like you go on vacation and you had your good time, so you have to go right back to work?
Hmm.
And the thing is that you get to take that. Hang on a second. Do you hear that, April? I'm sorry. Do you hear that echo?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna
Okay.
edit
Do you want to
I'm
start
gonna
over?
edit this part out. I know how to do that now, but it's echoey wicked bad, but now it's gone.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm gonna edit
Okay.
that part. So it's totally gone. So I have learned, I don't know if it was when we were kids or not, but like you go, you have your good time, and then you get right back to work. And taking a day to re-energize and rest, because when we're away on
Hmm.
vacation, like we're go, go, go. So we need to
Hmm.
rest. So that awareness on your part that, you need that rest day is so important. And you,
Yeah. And I don't, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I don't know if it is how we were taught, but I do know society tells us like some people don't even take their vacation days or their sick days because it's looked bad upon, it's frowned upon. Like technically you get them, but you shouldn't really take them, but you absolutely should. That's part of the reason that I think so many of us have some stress issues and health issues because we don't take enough time for ourselves like we were talking about with self-care. And I am now just going to work that into my PTO time when we plan a getaway. Like that will be part of the vacation time that I am taking is
Yeah.
that day for myself. Hmm.
It's so interesting that you bring up that we don't take our vacation and sick time. I have a friend who is so proud that she has 90 hours. Why? Like
Hmm.
you are working for free for your company now. You are giving
Yeah.
them extra weeks of work, and my friend doesn't agree with that. And I'm like, you wholeheartedly are, because they base
Yes.
your salary on X number of weeks. And if you're not taking vacation, you're working weeks for free. And
Absolutely. Yep.
and
And
so
sorry.
so take that time, right? So take that extra day of your vacation to re-energize and be ready to go back.
Yeah, and let's look at what we're missing out by not taking that time. It's funny you had that conversation because I had somebody tell me that their boss doesn't take any of their time. And his boss has kids and a wife. So you're literally not spending time with your family that you could be. Like your family notices that.
Yeah.
Like that's a balance of life. There's a reason that PTO, vacation, and sick days exist because you, as a human, should be taking those times to spend with your family, to heal your body if you're not well, so you can be productive when you return back to work. Like,
Yeah.
that is so important, and it's not I don't look at it as a badge of honor that you haven't taken that time to spend with your family when you could, or to rest when you're sick, or to push through a day when you've brought a fever into work and now other people are sick. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not something I think is a benefit to anybody.
No, we need that time. And, something else you said when you were talking about being at Disney, can I have this at home? And I
Mm.
have noticed myself when I go out to eat now, when I order, I'll look, oh, I want a burger, but I can have that at home. I can have a burger at home anytime I want a burger, but I can choose something that I don't normally have. And the vacation experience, like when we are on vacation, it is different than our norm. It is taking us out of our norm. We are getting to experience something that we don't get to do a lot or often. And, you reminding yourself why you're away and what you want to enjoy in that time. Like it's so important. And I think when we remember that the vacation is about the experience and not about the beat down of what we eat while we're away, like I think that's important too.
Yeah, and if you wanted the burger, that's fine too. I
Right.
think it's when you're choosing it, just like so when we were in the park, I saw it was a warm day. It was a beautiful day, but it was warm. And this lady walked by with ice cream. I was like, ooh, that looks good. I want that. And I was fixated on having ice cream. Now, on top of being gluten free, I do try to be dairy free, I would say 95% of the time. There are exceptions I make, but I do feel best when I don't have dairy. So in my mind, I'm like reeling with this thing as we're walking along and doing things, and I'm like, I really shouldn't have ice cream. I might not feel good afterwards, and oh, but I'm gonna have it. I'm on vacation. Like that was a thought that I had.
Oh, yep.
And some time passed, and we went places, and then we got to a point where there was the ice cream, and my friend was like, "Oh, there's the ice cream that you wanted," and I said, "No, I'm gonna pass." And I passed out of a choice. Again, it's a choice. I could have chosen to have the ice cream. There would have been nothing wrong with that. I may or may not have felt well after. Sometimes, whatever happens, but I waited out in my mind. And I thought, if I really want real ice cream, I can always get ice cream at home. It's everywhere. That ice cream at that spot was not going to be any different than what I get at home. So I chose in that moment to not have that. And I felt good with it. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I think it's a really big, important step for us to take that conversation with us. Now, with us wherever we go, right? Now, if there was something else that I would have wanted that even if you do get it at home, but in that moment it would have been special, then that would have been okay too. But it's really asking yourself, what do I want right now and how am I going to feel after I eat it? And making a choice from there. And either one is fine. But I think the conversation before the choice is an important part of that experience for you.
Absolutely. And, Lori mentioned my camping protocol. So when when I go camping, I eat all the food. I just like for me, my brain connects camping with just going face down in all of the snacks. Like going to the camp store, they have all the things, and on the way, the convenience store, what am I gonna wanna snack on? And, like, knowing the camp store is there, like, I can eat and eat and eat, and I can go back and get more, and that is how I have shown up for camping in the past, and I decided it was probably 2 years ago that I needed to make a camping protocol, and when we talk about protocols, it is not a protocol is how we wanna show up for ourselves. Like, what are we willing to put on this that it's kind of like our baseline or what our permit how would you best describe it? I don't wanna say a permission slip because it isn't that. It's an awareness.
Yeah. I I like to look at I've named them something different. I like
Oh,
to look at it as a blueprint. These are my vacation blueprints because I'm always adjusting and if something might not be stable for the next time or so I've looked at it blueprints are like you do different drafts of it. You know what I mean?
love
You're
that.
looking at how you're building something. This might not work well, so we're going to readjust this. So there's multiple versions of a blueprint before you get to what actually will work for you most of the time. So that's kind of how I look at them. So I look at them a little different. The
I like
protocol to
how
me sounds very strict, like, "This is what I'm gonna do regardless," and
yes,
I like blueprint was a little bit more fluid, like, had a little bit more give for changes and
I
adjustment.
love that. And that is what's so good is, like, we learn so much from each other, like, all of us, like, in Blueprint, I think I'm gonna change to that because we are always working on developing what works best for us. So, my camping blueprint is hanging on the refrigerator of our camper. We are heading out, on our move to Arizona in a couple of weeks, and I know how best to show up for myself now. I've learned and I've tried and I will continue to try because that blueprint that's hanging on the fridge hasn't always been followed perfectly and I have had to tweak it. And one of the things for me is I have to like I love that you pack your snacks to bring with you into the park because you are setting yourself up for success. So for me, when we go camping, if I don't bring it with me or buy it at a grocery store, I don't eat it while I'm camping. I don't go to the camp store and I don't stop at a convenience store because those are so easy for me. And I am and when I'm in the mode of convenience store or camp store, it's like food, 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 food. And so s- choosing the snacks that I'm going to want to have, I just pack them with me. And if they run out, they run out. This is what I have said will work for me this weekend. And it's not from a place of restriction. Like I am not saying you can't do this or if you run out, you can't have more. What I pack is what I know that my body would be enough for my body when I'm hungry. Like I'm not overpacking. I'm not hustling myself. And I think that that is such an important thing for people to learn is that we are very good at hustling ourselves without even realizing it. So, like, oh, I'm only going to have one candy bar. All right, well, buy a king size candy bar or buy a bag. You know what I mean? Like, we can find
Mhm.
all the excuses to have more. So, my protocol is very just, it's full of awareness. Like,
Yeah,
before you have an ice cream, you'll drink some water, or before you do you know what I mean? Just things to support
yes.
your body and yeah, so and like April said, they are always a work in progress and can be adjusted. And if I don't follow my camping protocol or blueprint, doesn't mean I failed, right? I still had wins because I went into the camping trip with awareness and like April said, our blueprint can change. So I can celebrate the wins of what worked on that blueprint, and then I can adjust it for the next trip.
Yes, exactly. And that's I think the awareness that you talked about is so key. And you're having just like I talked about having the conversation with yourself, not putting I think some people look for like what did you do? Was it no candy? Was it no bread? Was it no this? And I think that we always look for or we tend to look for black and white, like do this, don't do that. Eat this, don't eat that. But what I have learned, and I think what you have learned as well when we've talked, is that those black and white scenarios always lead to feeling restricted or being told what to do. And
Mhm.
it really takes us away from talking to ourselves and being aware of what we are feeling in that moment. Um, and that's the key for each person, right? What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa, right? So I don't really focus on what I can or can't have. I talk to myself before and just kind of what you did, like you reassessed what are we there for and what do I want to focus on? And in the moments of choosing, if the moment came up where you thought about going to the camp store, you would ask yourself, like, is this something I want to do? Do I have something at the camp? Do you camp in a tent or like an RV or
We have a little 19-foot camper.
camper? So
So
you
cute.
could say, like, do I have something in the camper that would work? It would be a conversation and awareness and a choice in that moment. And I think the big thing that you said is it's not a failure. No beat ups. That's definitely something that has been key for me. So I did really well, and I was proud of how I handled the weekend. I got back home and I somebody brought candy into work and my brain was tired and said, "Sugar, yes," and I ate it, and was it the way I would have wanted to handle the day? No. Did I beat myself up for it? No. Did I go to the store after work and buy some vegetables that I could just throw into the air fryer for the next day? Yes. So I looked at how I handled the day and I assessed and I was like, okay, what can I do next for tomorrow to make myself into a better position for tomorrow? We have to remember in these things, in these moments, in these trips or holidays or special occasions, weddings, whatever it might be, you are however many years old, right? So I'm 49. So I have had these habits, other habits, for 40 plus years of my life.
Mhm,
This is a real different journey that I've taken in the past 3 or 4 years to work on thought work and what I'm thinking about something and what I need and what feels best for me to do versus what people are telling me to do. So it's new. We're all still new. Most of us, right? Especially if we're listening, we're trying to figure it out. We want to figure it out. And one of the big keys is really asking yourself, what are you going to feel good about when you get home and you look back at your trip or you look back at the wedding that you went to or whatever? What will you feel good about doing and having and not having?
mhm,
Those are all the choices you want to make. And I also want to include, before I forget, water. Drink water no matter what you do. Water is so important to one, keeping your body feeling good, but also processing whatever you might eat that you normally don't eat, right? It's going to help your body really process everything more efficiently. So, water, I think, is such a big part of travel, especially with the flying. You're always going to increase, you're going to retain water. Everybody does. So one thing I was told a long time ago too was to not wait. So if you're really focused on not having a large, because Lori wrote about, avoiding a large weight gain. So it is reality that you're probably going to be increased on the scale when you come home because of flying, because of the altitude, all of these things. You're eating higher salt foods than you might normally eat, or whatever it might be. So having a realistic expectation, I think, is very important. Know that, okay, the scale might be up and you can make a choice. So many people, I was advised not to weigh in until 2 weeks after traveling. I didn't do that. I did weigh in because I wanted to. I was curious mostly because I want to see how my body did handle the fact that I knew I handled this trip a little differently. And I think I was up 2 or 3 pounds. And in the past, I've been up anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds. But either way is really fine. I have understood now that increasing weight when you get back in the week that you get back is normal. Go right back to routine as quickly as you can and really wait and see what happens the next week or two. And then if you still have some weight that's on in the next week or two, then that might be some weight that's true weight that you may have gained. And now you want to look at how to handle that. But the expectation of coming back from vacation and not gaining or losing, that can happen. I've known people to have that happen, but the expectation of it can be very damaging to your mental health and your goals in pursuing them, right, after.
that is so true, and you know what, maybe the expectation isn't, to come back because I know, I mean, like, I wanna come back from vacation and not have gained a an ounce, but what if our expectation changed that we're gonna come back and give ourselves grace no matter what the data is on the scale because we showed up how we wanted to, maybe not perfectly, but no matter what that data says, we are still gonna move forward. And
Mhm.
yeah, so maybe changing our expectations because we have always like it's what you always have wanted to do. So maybe changing the expectation a little bit gives a little bit of freedom. And I was taking notes as you were talking because there were so many things that you said that I thought were so important. And one of them is you are 49 years old and you have thought this way for so long. And I think that that is something that is so important for all of us to remember. I'm 55. I didn't start losing my weight for good until 6 years ago. So, just like you, that's 49 years of showing up how I always showed up. And when we are losing weight, when I was 240 pounds, I wanted that weight off overnight. And reminding ourselves that not only have we thought this way for all of these years, our weight didn't come on like that. It's not going to come off like that. And I think the sooner that we make peace with that
Mhm.
and know that this is a journey, that can be beautiful along the way, and not just beautiful. I mean, we're going to have moments that we're frustrated and we're angry and we're excited and like all of the emotions, but to release ourselves from the feeling of it needs to be done overnight is just it can damage us because it leaves us feeling so disappointed. And the conversations, you have said it again and again, and when you're talking, those conversations with ourselves are so important. Like April and I talk every day before we get every time we talk every day through chat or voice messages, but we always chat before we get on this to record this podcast. And it's one of my favorite times of the week because we get to say all the things to each other. And I learn so much from her when we're talking. And those conversations every week are so important to me. But we also need to remember it's not just the conversations with our best friends and our family, it's the conversations that we have with ourselves that are so important because our brains just want to be heard and they want to hear we're doing a good job. We need to learn this, like all the things. So, if we're not perfect in our protocols for camping or Disney or whatever, it's the opportunity to adjust that blueprint.
Yeah, I agree with everything. That's so good. And I think too, when you were talking, I was thinking also, say you do go to camp and you went to the camp store and you ate things, or I went to Disney and I ate the ice cream and I ate the whatever else I can't think of right now. And I come back, or you come back and you gain weight. So you have a choice in that moment too, right? Now, you could look at how you handled the trip or the camping trip and say, okay, this is what I did not feel good after doing. So I'm going to look at a different way to handle that next time. Or you could come home and be like, I'm never going to get this. I can't believe I ate that much. Look at this. I gained 10 pounds and just do all the negative self talk. So now, not only are you beating yourself up because of the weight gain of what you ate, but the food that you ate that you chose to eat and enjoyed in that moment, now you have crashed on that moment,
Hmm.
right? You have made that moment tarnished. So if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. You're home, you ate all the things, you gained weight. This is your moment to choose to move forward and say, I had a great time. I ate those foods. Let me think about what foods were worth eating, and let me think about what foods now I'm home and I'm like, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I don't really need to have that next time. Make that list. Write those lists down so you see it on paper. Ice cream was worth it. The burger wasn't, or whatever it was. And then next time you'll make those choices. So I encourage people to really, we talk about compassion. When you get home, remember that in that moment you enjoyed whatever you ate. Now think about how you feel about it and make the list for next time. And that way you can work on choosing differently next time. But please don't come home and say, oh, I should have never had the ice cream. It's just not. Maybe it was a great day. The sun was out. You were with your friends. You had the ice cream. Or you went to the store. You walked to the store with your husband and you had the candy. That's a memory. Keep that where it was. Keep that where it belongs. It was a good one. Now look at it and assess it for the next time.
I love that because you don't wanna steal the joy of that memory.
No,
Like, in that
no.
moment, it would every single if I went to the camp store and I got a whatchamacallit, I love those candy bars, my sister and I were just talking about them. Like, that's what I want in that moment, and it's a choice. It comes back to that word that you love and I've embraced so
Mhm.
much. It was a choice I made in that moment, and my sister, I'm sure she'll be fine with me saying this. My sister loves to cruise. And when she goes on cruises, I mean, she enjoys the food and she comes back with the weight of the memory of that food, I guess, right? And she went on a cruise this time, this past vacation, and she showed up differently. I mean, she didn't come back with as much weight, but something that she did that sometimes I don't think we often do is exactly what you're saying. You were on that vacation. What do you do now? And she was here the other day, and I said, Carol, you look amazing. You can see that your hard work is paying off and you are maintaining. We all know how to lose because we've all lost weight before. It's learning to maintain as you go down. And I think the biggest lesson that she learned and that I have learned and you have learned that just because yesterday wasn't great doesn't mean that today cannot be great. And today we
Yes.
cannot continue our journey. A day that we don't show up for ourselves with food does not mean failure and you stop. It just means adjust the blueprint.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So I hope that answered your question, Lori, but your blueprint, your protocol can be whatever you want, and it's always something that can be adjusted to fit what you've learned and what you were successful on.
Yeah.
So we are looking for more questions. Lori, thank you for answering our call to put a question for us. If you have a question you'd like us to answer next week or a subject we haven't talked about, please email us at April and Debbie. Visit us on our Facebook page.
Yeah. We love the questions. We love answering them and hopefully helping everybody or somebody the best we can.
Yeah. So, one more thing that April said earlier, and I want to reiterate this, not every way to lose weight works for every person. Don't ask what I have had people ask me, what did you eat when you were losing? I'm sure April in your 75-pound weight loss journey that people have asked you, and what I eat, what you eat, totally different. How I lost weight may be totally different. And give yourself permission to find out what works for you and give yourself the freedom to know that just because, you know, I Debbie did it this way or April did it that way, so it must be the way that will work for me. Release yourself from that because we all do life differently.
Yeah, that's 100%. The message that I think we always want to drill home is really start to talk to yourself and listen to yourself and be willing to experiment, take chances, see what works for you, adjust, right? I think it's fine when people ask what we eat and it gives some idea. That's why too, like we go to a coach, I have a coach. You're getting ideas from other people, but even with the coaches, I don't know if Debbie has experiences. I know for me, even with the best of coach, some things they say work for me, some things they don't. I have to ask myself, is this something I agree with? Is this something that feels good in my body? Take what works, leave what doesn't. Form your own plan for yourself and for your body and your mind of what works for you. Mm.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great week and it is raining here, but I went out and got my hot chocolate this morning and it says no rain, no flowers. I love that that just was my thing.
Oh,
So, and I think
that's
it's
awesome.
isn't that so great? And I think it fits perfectly.
Yes.
Like keep blooming because you know what? On the
Mm.
rainy days, it still brings the flowers. So keep blooming and have
Oh,
a great day.
yes. And remember, as always, wake up and do something, be willing to do something that feels good to you.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.